raise of hands, who has ever felt a gut instinct? And who has ever listened to it? Wow, almost all of you. This is most likely due to your gut microbiome, and the journey through the gut is what I want to take you on today. But first, what actually is your gut microbiome? Well, also known as your gut microbiota, it contains over 100 trillion microorganisms. That's more microbes in your gut than stars in the galaxy. This consists of bacteria, fungi, viruses, and archaea, which are essential to our health. The majority of your microbiome resides in your large intestine. The bacteria in your gut is different to other types of bacteria, as it respires mainly anaerobically. This is due to the low oxygen environment in your gut. This is particularly important in breaking down indigestible fibers and producing essential nutrients. However, there is a chance that your microbiome can become unbalanced or unhealthy. This is known as gut dysbiosis. This is caused by the loss or deficit of beneficial bacteria. Now, you may think this is completely irrelevant to you, but while these microbes are out of sight, they're definitely not out of mind. This brings me on to the link they have with your brain. Have you ever heard the gut referred to as the second brain? Well, if you have and thought this was nonsense, think again. There's actually a bidirectional communication system called the gut-brain axis. The main physical connection is your vagus nerve. This connects your brain to your enteric nervous system. The enteric nervous system contains over 500 million neurons. So other than your brain, making it the most complex neural network. See why it's called the second brain, right? Now, on to butterflies. But not quite these ones. You know, the ones you feel when you're standing in front of a large crowd, or that punch in your stomach when you know something's wrong. Well, your brain is constantly processing information, whether you know it or not. It picks up on cues such as facial expressions, tone of voice, and environmental cues. This is then taken and stored and matched with emotional memories that are stored in your amygdala. This is generally known as pattern recognition. Without conscious awareness, your brain is connecting with your vagus nerve, and therefore your gut, which allows you to get these gut instincts essentially based off past experiences. For example, when your brain detects fear, the hormone adrenaline is released. Adrenaline causes the blood from your stomach to be redirected to muscles that may be needed in stressful situations. So your gut instincts actually have some truth to them. Now, while it can be a good idea to listen to them, it's also important to do this with caution. Your brain uses heuristics, mental shortcuts, but these can be flawed as they are used to make fast decisions. Here's one. Who here is scared of flying? I know I am. Okay, and it seems a few of you are too. But who is scared of getting in a car? Okay, so one person. Well, it's weird how flying is actually statistically safer than driving. This is an example of the availability heuristic, which is used to estimate the probability of risk. Another cognitive strategy used is confirmation bias. This is the brain's tendency to process and recall information which confirms pre-existing beliefs and rejects those which don't. These, plus many more, play into your gut instincts. I spoke about how the brain influences the gut, but the gut also influences the brain. Remember, this is a bidirectional system. Your gut produces many neurotransmitters. Incredibly, over 90% of serotonin and over 50% of dopamine is synthesized in the gut. Low levels of serotonin, which are often associated with depression, can be treated using common antidepressants, such as SSRIs, which are used to increase the levels of serotonin in the brain. This explains why when there's a change in composition or function of bacteria in the gut, it can lead to depression-contributing imbalances. Although this is a relatively new field, scientists have also looked into the link this has with anxiety. Fecal microbiota transplant is the process of taking a sample of feces containing one person's microbiome and transplanting it into another person's gut. This has been done with people who do and don't have anxiety. A person who doesn't have anxiety's microbiome has been transplanted into someone who does. Incredibly, the person with anxiety's symptoms decrease significantly. Now, mental health is complex, and I'm not saying that this is going to completely change someone's life, but it is important to be aware of. Now, you may have heard of the term leaky gut. But what does this actually mean? Dysbiosis can also cause the gut lining to become more permeable. This means that things that shouldn't be getting through do. Now, this isn't good. It can mean that stuff such as undigested food particles, toxins, and bacterial components enter the bloodstream. This doesn't just affect digestion. This affects other conditions such as celiac disease, Crohn's disease, and IBS. But here's what might surprise you. These imbalances can also contribute to depression, anxiety, brain fog, and cognitive decline due to neuroinflammation. So, what causes these imbalances? Well, some include medication. Some antibiotics can be effective in eliminating the harmful bacteria. However, they can also kill off beneficial bacteria. Environmental factors such as pollutants, pesticides, and heavy metals can also play a role. Lifestyle choices such as alcohol abuse, poor sleep, and chronic stress, and diet. This is one I'd like to develop on a bit further. A diet high in ultra-processed foods, sugar, and alcohol can harm the good bacteria and promote inflammation, as well as feeding the harmful bacteria and promoting overgrowth of yeast. If you can, it'd be a good idea to try and include more fiber-rich plant foods. These contain great prebiotics, which promote digestion, reduce inflammation, and feed the good bacteria. On to fermented foods, such as natural yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, and kefir. These promote and aid in microbial diversity. In fact, a leading scientist in this field, Professor Tim Spector, suggests over 30 different plant-based foods in a week. And I get it, it's not easy. Ultra-processed foods are cheap, convenient, and literally everywhere. However, small intentional choices can make a huge difference. Remember, this isn't just about digestion, it's about your brain, your mood, and your life. Thank you.